Have you ever thought about canning, whether it's tomatoes or any other vegetables, but you were afraid to because you weren't sure if you could do it? Well, I'm here to tell you that if this is something you really want to do, you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. This is the result of the canning that we did. And in today's video, we're going to show you how we can our tomatoes. And this is from our harvest back last summer. It is January right now, but we didn't have time to do the canning back then. So stick with us and you'll see how we produced 15 jars of pasta sauce. In today's video, I'm going to be canning tomatoes in January. It's about 17 degrees outside. Of course, I'm not growing tomatoes right now. It's just too cold. During growing season, we had so many tomatoes and we simply ran out of time. We just couldn't find the time to can. If you're new to canning, this is a very easy way of canning tomatoes. We went ahead and we blanched the tomatoes and got them ready for the canning process, but we blanched them and then we froze them. And then we decided we were going to wait until we had more time before we were actually going to can. So let me show you what we have going on right now. These are some of the tomatoes, and I weighed this. This was approximately 5 pounds, 11 ounces. I'll make sure I post that video on how we blanched these tomatoes. I grow my own tomatoes. You, of course, can use canned tomatoes or fresh tomatoes at the grocery store if you would like. But I grow my own tomatoes and I don't use pesticides, so I know exactly what I am eating in terms of my tomatoes. I have this thawing right now in, well, it's not hot water anymore, but I'm trying to get this thawed as much as possible because over here, I already have 2 bags that I have in this pot, and I just have it cooking down right now. It has a lot of liquid in it, so we'll cook it down, and I'm going to show you what we use. This is just what we use for a base. We get this at Rural King, and there are instructions on the back. So if you're new to canning, or if you just like an easy way of canning, this is a super, super easy way to do that. So for each of these packages, it is requesting 6 pounds of fresh tomatoes, 1/4 cup of sugar, and then the pouch, like this package right here. You can read how they instruct you to do the canning. And like I said, this is just the base. So I'm going to add more seasonings to my pasta sauce. I use this not only for pasta sauce, but I will use it for pizza sauce or dipping sauce or anything like that that requires a sauce similar to this. I know they have packages like this that say pizza sauce, but for me, I like the same type of seasoning in my pasta sauce as I do my pizza sauce. So once this cooks down, I'm going to add the other bag that's still thawing in the sink. And then this could be possibly like a couple of hour process. Right now it is 12:27, and I'll let you know how long it takes to get this cooked down. So during the entire process of cooking the sauce down, it did take quite a while, but that comes with the cooking of the pasta sauce. I did start with the black pan, and as you notice, I keep pouring some of the liquid that's in that glass measuring bowl. It was just too much liquid, so I couldn't fit it all in there. And then at a later point, you see the yellow pan. It's a bigger pan. Todd went ahead and grabbed that for me so that way I could use all of the tomatoes and the sauce. And as it was cooking down beautifully, I did go ahead, and that's when I started adding some more seasonings to it. I had to keep cooking or stirring. You do have to constantly stir because this just does take 2 to 3 hours or more depending on how long you cook your sauce. And yeah, so now you see me adding the seasonings, and I added the packet mix along with the sugar during this time. After about 3.5 hours of cooking this sauce down, I'm going to go ahead and use the immersion blender to really puree everything up so it's nice and smooth before we can. These are some added spices that I used and added to the sauce while it was cooking. I didn't use any particular measurements. I just eyeballed it and tried to do the taste test to see how it tasted. So we have onion powder, Italian seasoning, oregano, and basil leaves, dry, and then granulated sugar, and then a granulated honey. That was in addition to 3 of these packs in this pot, some sugar, and basically just followed the recipe that was on the back. But I did also add, in addition to these seasonings, my SPG, which is equal parts salt, pepper, garlic. The jars just got finished cleaning, so we're going to have to pull those out of the dishwasher, put those in there to get sanitized, and let's go ahead and get going on this immersion blender. And this is one that we use. This has been a great tool ever since Todd taught me how to use this. It is amazing, but there is a trick. You have to be careful with how you do the immersion blender, because if you have it too high up, you're going to fling sauce everywhere. But so let me show you what the box looks like. Ganiza, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but this is the box. If I can find the link, I'll go ahead and link it below as well. Okay, and here we go. So I like this because you can kind of pulse it by hitting this button and releasing. All right. I feel like that's pretty good. This is what it looks like now. Earlier it was a lot chunkier. This immersion blender did pretty well. Look at that pasta sauce. Okay, so just to let you know how I'm going to be using this pasta sauce, it's not exactly how I would normally make sauce if I was actually making it for a meal. After I can this is going to end up turning into my base for pasta sauces, especially when I make lasagna, because I make a different type of sauce for that, and for pizza sauce. But when I do the sauce for like a pasta or my lasagna, I add different types of meat, and I also will start with a sautéing of onions and garlic, in addition to maybe a little bit more seasoning in olive oil. But that's how I start the base. Before I do any of the canning, I want to go ahead and get this off. You just press a button. That tool is done, and all you do is you wash this, and super easy. We are now taking the jars out of the dishwasher and setting them up to cool off a little bit before we start filling them. So I will wipe off the rim with a wet paper towel. And once I know that is completely clean and you don't feel any cracks or breaks in the lid or in the rim here, then I can add a lid and a ring, finger tight. And I'm just going to continue doing that with the rest of these. We went ahead and we finished canning. We have a total of 15 pints. So we have 10 here, and then we have 5 in the pot. We are going to water bath can this. So once this comes to a boil, then we'll start the timer for 40 minutes. I grabbed my handy dandy little jar grabber. So let's go ahead and get this ready to go. Can's going in, not so hot, but coming out super hot. So that's why this is a fantastic tool to grab the jars. Let me demonstrate. You wrap this around and then you just pinch this and pick it up this way. So super handy. If you're going to start canning, you definitely need one of these. The timer just went off on the last round of cans. So we're pulling out the last 5 of the 15 jars that we canned today. I think it was pretty successful. Don't forget to label your jars. When you label them, make sure you label them to the point that you understand what's in it, and be sure you date it. This should be shelf stable for at least a year. I hope you gained value from this video. And girls, if you're watching, now you know how we can tomatoes. I'm going to go ahead and call it. I hope everyone has a good evening. It's time for us to go to bed. We have a long week ahead of us. And until next time, thank you for watching.